Good morning, folks. Hi, Phil McPhail here with United Country Lifestyle Properties of Maine. Come along with me today. We're going to take a tour of a lakefront lot here in the eastern Maine town of Lakeville. This is nearly 5 acres of land with about 250 feet of frontage on beautiful Junior Lake. It seems like we're out in the middle of nowhere, and we kind of are, but we do have grid power roadside. We've got a driveway onto the lot, electricity buried down to a building site. So let's go take a look at it together. Hey folks, as we walk down this driveway that's nearly 500 feet long, we want to show that to you, but let's talk about our location here. We're in the town of Lakeville, Maine. Lakeville is a semi-organized town. They do their own taxation. However, they don't do their own code enforcement. That's done by the State of Maine Land Use Planning Commission. The town here is kind of remote, but we're about a 30-mile drive to the town of Lincoln, where you'll get most services that you need: a hospital, doctor's offices, groceries, hardware, building supplies, everything you need. Bangor is about 80 miles away. That's where your nearest commercial airport would be. That's about an hour and 40-minute ride from this location. City of Portland, about 210 miles. Boston's about 315 miles or 5-hour drive time. All right, I'll tell you a little bit more about this piece of land here in Lakeville. 4.82 acres. Obviously, from the legal description, it was surveyed. We found corner pins from surveyors all the way around it. Lines are blazed, so it's well marked out. This driveway is nearly 500 feet long. Kind of meanders down through the woods here. It's really, really private, although the location, you don't need to worry about your privacy too much because you're out in the middle of the woods, but you got neighbors on each side. However, you got about 250 feet of lake frontage, and the road comes in here and ends nearly in the center of the land. And underground here, best part, no overhead power lines, buried from the beginning of the driveway down here, and we're going to show you where that comes up out of the ground again. All right, we're down here at the end of the driveway. This is where the power comes out. We got a transformer down here, really set up nice. So from here, you're gonna be able to hook up to wherever you're gonna build your home. We're probably 200 feet off the lake, so you can build at 100 feet here. We're gonna walk down through, but what I wanted you to notice as we walked in here, some beautiful white birch trees. They're younger growth. This property, this whole area was one ownership at one time. I think the timber harvest was done in the 1980s. It's grown all back, but they stayed 300-400 feet off the lake. And you can see in here, this is just a whole bunch of old growth hemlock. Beautiful, almost no underbrush. So your building site, I think the prime site is gonna be about 100 feet right off there. And we're out here at, what time is it? 6:30 this morning. Sun's been up for an hour and a half or so, but we're looking almost southeasterly here, so you're going to get the sunrise and get good sun in here all day long. We're going to walk down here and check this out. So we're down here now at the shore of Junior Lake. We're almost in the center of this 4.82 acres. When you get down here, you're going to notice we got some big boulders, which is typical of Maine, but the water here drops off pretty quickly. So we got some nice deep water frontage, easy to keep a boat here. This lake is about 3,866 surface acres. Maximum depth of this lake is about 70 feet. Its primary fishery is landlocked salmon and smallmouth bass. There's also lake trout and a very good population of whitefish in this lake. It's a great eating fish if you've never had one. Beyond this 3,866 acres of lake here, we have a direct access into Scraggly Lake, which is almost another 2,800 acres. And that is not well known because it is so remote. However, it's got dozens of long, narrow coves, rocky shoals, absolutely perfect smallmouth bass fishery. Junior Stream runs down into Junior Bay of West Grand Lake and connects up to West Grand and Pocumcus down there. So connected in here, I think we've got about 18,000 acres of surface water. This is a fisher person's, a boater's dream down here. You got so much water to explore. You probably couldn't see it all in a year if you tried. Points of interest down here in this part of Maine, folks. Some of you will already know this, a lot of you probably won't. This is one of the most conserved areas of the state of Maine, with over 300,000 acres conserved and protected in some way. Most of that is open for public access. The development potential is pretty well not going to happen. So if you come up in this area, you see all these lakes. We got miles of protected shoreline down here through a couple of different partnerships for the Down East Lakes Forest partners. They have conserved all this land for public use and kind of maintain the environment up here for wildlife and for us too. Other things you can do down here, folks, this road system coming in here is a privately maintained road, and it will be accessible for your ATV riding out to the public road, which is the trailhead for the ATV trail. So if you like riding ATVs, you can get to it right to the trail right from the property. The lakes are connected here, and you can ride snowmobiles and connect up to the ITS trails down here. Absolutely great place, year-round use down here in Junior Lake. And if you like traveling over to Canada, we're about an hour from the border here, a little less. St. Stephen's or Vanceboro, Forest City, take your pick. They're all pretty close by. So you could be in Fredericton, Canada, and probably an hour and 35, 40 minutes. Take a ride up the Miramichi if you want. Spend a long weekend over there salmon fishing on the Miramichi. Take a tour of Atlantic Canada, see some beautiful tidal areas, that some of the biggest tides in the world there in New Brunswick, Canada. We're back here about 100 feet from the shore now. You can see we've got a little meandering path down to the water. Back in here, you'll see behind you, you wouldn't have to cut a lot of trees down to get your building in here. Septic test was done back there. I think there's no problem. Probably get another one a little closer if you wanted to. A lot of you are wondering how much of this can you cut? Well, you want to definitely work with Land Use Planning Commission before you start cutting down a lot of trees. You are entitled to thin this out a little bit within the 100-foot setback of the lake. You can prune trees to 1/3 of their height, and you could do all of that. And quite honestly, the way that there's so little undergrowth in here, if you just prune these trees, you're going to open a pretty nice view of the lake and still maintain your privacy from anybody that happen to be out there in a boat. So keep that in mind. And if you've got questions about how to get your permits, I'd be more than happy to send you a copy of one that you need to fill out and send into the state in order to get your building permit. We're here at the end of the driveway now, and there were 2 soil test locations done, one over here to my right. The lake is behind you, one over here to my left. The only thing that was designed here was for a outhouse, because the people that own the land didn't know what they were going to do with it at the time. This would have to be redone, but we got plenty of soil here. I think that one was 24 inches, the limiting factor. I think this one was 16, or maybe vice versa. I'll send you that report if you'd like to see it. Hey, before we wrap this up, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit all notification bell down below. Thanks for coming along on this tour with us today at the location here is actually 704 Long Point Road. Don't get confused when you come in here, because the driveway is actually in here on Deer Run Road. This property here on Junior Lake, one of Central or Eastern Maine's premier cold-water lakes, is $234,900. That includes over 500 feet of driveway, underground power, approximately 250 feet on the lake. We've got some old growth trees, year-round access, and one of the most beautiful parts of the state with tons of conservation land. If you want to come see this, give me a call, 207-290-0372. Looking forward to your call.